So I am back on here again to do yet another Twitter analysis. And this time it's involving this guy by the name of Preston Mitchum, who is a member of the Academy. He is, according to his bio, it says policy director, attorney. He is a member of a fraternity, and he says at Safe Spaces DC. So I guess that's a part of his organization. At Repro Justice. Views are mine. He has the black fist up with the rainbow next to it, so he is a part of the Academy. But then I also noticed that he has he/him next to his name, so he's one of those pronoun niggas. Anyway, so this is coming off of what happened at that bar in Nelly's in DC, where that young lady was dragged down the stairs by her hair. And I've stated in my video that was messed up, that bouncer pulled her down the steps by her hair. They said it was mistaken identity, but so at the same time, he had no right to drag her by her hair down the stairs. I made that very clear in the video. And I just knew, because I said in the video that there was going to be some people that were going to turn this into a thing of black men hating black women. And what do you know? A couple days later, this tweet arises. And he didn't get the traction he thought he would, because a lot of people went in on him. But we'll get there. So he said, and let's be clear, Nelly's is a gay bar and is majority white. So when you see comments like, thank God for these black men jumping in, remember these are black gay men jumping in. I've noticed that many straight people messaging me about this are forgetting that fact. Let's address something right here. He's mentioning that people said, thank God for these black men jumping in, because like I said in the video, there was some black men that jumped in and was defending this woman. But he comes back and says, remember, these are black gay men jumping in. This is a guy right here who literally just put his sexuality before his race. And this is something that we have been saying has been a problem with the Academy, especially those who are black in the Academy. And it doesn't apply to all of them, but too many of them do this. I'm like, sure, they are gay men, but aren't they still black at the end of the day? And that's what people were talking about. At that point, we didn't care what their sexuality was. We just cared the fact that these were black men that were jumping in to defend this woman. But he made it a point to highlight this, and rarely highlight it, because he made sure that this was in all caps. And not only that, remember, he made sure to make it a point to make it in all caps 2 times. He made that a point to do that. So that lets you know what he really was going for. So let me move it down a little bit more. He says, and now, of course, straight black men are upset and quote tweeting saying, y'all are black men, so I don't get it. And let's be clear, it's not even just straight black men that are saying that. It's also black women that are saying it too. But he had to make it a point to make black men the target. Yes, we've been waiting on you homophobes to catch up. Now suddenly our sexuality don't matter. These people are hilarious. Let's be clear here. It's people like myself and Tariq Nasheed who have been exposing a lot of the white members of the Academy and how they've been treating them, and stuff like Ed Buck and a few other things in these legislations for a long time before they even got a hold of it. Or if they did get a hold of it, then they made it a point to kind of gloss over it and then still throw it back onto black men or black people. But he says, yes, we've been waiting on you homophobes to catch up. Let me remind you, this guy is a quote unquote attorney. He's talking like this. And when I quoted it on my page, I made sure to leave that as a caption. He says, now suddenly our sexuality don't matter. To be honest, many of us didn't care what your sexuality was. The only reason we cared is because you kept shoving it in our face all the time to make it known that you are a part of the Academy. Many of us really didn't care. You wanted us to care. It was a time when they said whatever you do is in your bedroom is your own business. But as you can see, that's clearly not the case in 2021. It hasn't been for the last few years. Let me click on this to see what else he's talking about so I can expand it. Let's see. He says, in the end, y'all don't stand up for us or black women. And notice he said us, and he made sure to put us in all caps, or black women. See, again, what he just did was separate himself from the pack. And unfortunately, some black women do the same thing. This is why many people don't like the Academy, because how can I say this delicately? Sometimes this and this work hand in hand against the collective. Unfortunately, look at this. He separated himself from black men because he's a gay black man, and he separated black women from the group as well, literally right here. And he said, and that's the point. What is your point? Let me see what else he's talking about. Trying to make sure I catch everything, because I think most of the replies that I'm seeing are probably from other people. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything else that he said. Okay, here's one right here. Especially because straight black men were the same ones calling us, I'm not going to say the word, but y'all can see it, while we were protesting in defense of Keisha, who was the young lady who was dragged by her hair. Well, truth be told, from what I've heard, those in the Academy call each other that word too. Just like how women be calling themselves bees, but they don't like it when another man calls her that, because they say it's a different connotation when it comes from them. They say the same thing to each other. And that is a fact. See, like I said, what I told y'all when I did my commentary about that about that young lady whose name is Keisha, I think her last name is Young, that they were going to do this. I knew they were going to do it, and I was right on cue. I was right on point, because I know how they operate. And this is exactly why many people in that academy do not get respect from people such as ourselves, even though we are all black at the end of the day. But see, the thing is, like I said, they've imposed and they intrude where they don't need to be. Just like now with the haughty and invading women's spaces and women's sports. They didn't have to do that, but they did it anyway because of quote unquote inclusion. Now let me look at some of these quoted tweets. You're going to see mine up in here. This one says, we don't give a flip if they're of the Alphabet Academy. Law enforcement will only see skin color, so #nice try, we aren't homophobic. This was mine. I said, this guy is a so-called attorney and talking like this. Couldn't he be disbarred for bias? Because it makes me wonder, if he had to have a case that dealt with a straight black man, how would he deal with his case? Would he actually deal with it the way it's supposed to be, or would he purposely fumble it because the man was heterosexual? This person said, this is what you get when you want to be something other than black, as if it's going to improve your social condition and status in this race-based society. This person said, this is the only thing you need to be worried about, and it's an HIV prevention. Someone says, you sodomites need to leave this app for real. Someone says, so the F what? They black men at the end of the day, and they did what had to be done clearly. Race, religion, sexuality, and ethnicity has been kicking y'all ass. This person said, telling Preston, so this is someone maybe in the academy, I'm not sure, that agrees with what they say. But this person didn't give like any facts. Like none. But they let us get a glimpse of who they are internally. And the thing is, he's not the only black man who's in the academy that feels that way. This one says, are gay black men not black men? This clown here. Shout out to Tony Lene, a follower of mine. This meme is like on point. Shout out to Encore Brother 83, another follower of mine. He says, let's further unpack this also. This eliminates the need for all Black Lives Matter too. Just saying. Exactly. They be the same ones. That academy. So I had to step away right quick. But what I was saying was, I'm glad he said that. The academy, as far as I know, were the ones that came up with this all Black Lives Matter thing all Black Lives Matter thing and putting the black fist in there, incorporating the rainbow and the trans flag, and y'all seen the symbol, and now Juneteenth. But these are the same ones that say all Black Lives Matter, but really what they were saying was all Black lives with the exception of black men. It's straight out of the Black Lives Matter handbook. Someone else said gay black men aren't black men. If that's the case, I'll make sure we use sexuality as a way of dividing people, which is something your community does big. So until y'all create companies ran by gay people, don't use nothing straight people made. That includes this app. They ain't gonna do that. They need a place to vent. This one says a gay black man will fight women before straight men will. Cap. This is exactly, nah, it was just black men. It was gay. And I says, nah, it was just black men. It was gay ass black men protecting her. They says tap dance for Massa Boy. I already know what this is. This is because we know the cis straight black men are always minding their business when black women are concerned. They put an upside down emoji in a whatever face. This person says speak on it, and I want to thank all the queer and gay black men who have been defending black women and using their privilege to protect black women. Wait a minute. Privilege. Was that a Freudian slip? Now that one I didn't expect to see in a statement, especially when it came to, black people or black men who were in the academy. But some will say that they do have a slight privilege, just a slight, nothing on the same scale as their Caucasian counterparts in the academy by far. That they might have a slight privilege because of them being in the academy. But see, here's the thing. These are the same ones that say straight black men have a black male privilege. But not let him hear that because, he wants to separate himself from the pack. They said the big part of this whole story is what the black LGBT community has been trying to tell the world for years. They are treated far differently than their white counterparts. Abuse is rampant, discrimination runs deep, and black LGBT members can only count on other black LGBT. They said, I was speaking on this yesterday. There's this friction between black men and black gay men. That one is the superior version, while the other while it overlooks them being men. It's ironic watching them argue over who has more quote unquote masculine traits. Someone says gay black men ain't black men anymore or something. This one said LMAO. This one says gay black men are black men. And you should see how when some people were saying that or saying this, how some people in their comment section was trying to argue them down about it. And trying to come up with analysis of, yeah, they're black men. But I tell you, anything after a but is a rebuttal. And it's going to usually contradict whatever point they were trying to make. And this is the last one. It says it's an irrelevant fact. And it is. Like, this guy made it a point to make sure to point out that these men happen to be gay, but at the end of the day, they were still black first. And that is a thing that many in the academy try their best or their damned hardest to run away from. Every single time. And that is why there's a disconnect between black people who are heterosexual and black people who are not. Because I knew this was going to happen. I called it right down the middle. I said, watch, they're going to come out and they're going to say or make a whole diatribe of how black men or heterosexual black men ain't shit and they're this and that and they're homophobic and all of this stuff. I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to come. I knew it was going to happen. But I'm glad there were people that saw right through this, and it wasn't even that hard to see through because it is what it is. At the end of the day, if you are a black man in the academy, remember, you are still a black man. You want to know what it is? You want to know what I think it actually is too? When's the last time you've seen a black man who was in the academy get brutalized by the police the way heterosexual black men have been for the last I don't know how many years. Not saying that it has never happened, but it's few and far in between, it seems. And it's just crazy to me. And at the end of the day, it still doesn't change the fact that it was black people, whether they are in the academy or not, frequented a bar that had a racist background. But they don't want to talk about that. And I knew they wasn't going to talk about that. I called that too. They were going to focus on that black bouncer pulling that girl down by her hair. That's all they were going to talk about. Not the fact that this bar, as he says, is majority white and has a racist history, which I talked about in the previous video. This is why many people cannot trust those in the academy, because they're always going to put this before this, which is exactly what this guy did in this whole thread.